NWSL starts from Houston as Week 21 continues with the Dash clashing with the Stars. Houston has been a team on a mission since the summer break, led by forward Messiah Bright, who is helping the Dash look for a rebound, along with Yasmin Ryan at the heart of the attack. For Chicago defender Sam Staub has been irreplaceable for the Stars, who along with midfielder Jamise Joseph are climbing their way out from the bottom of the table. It's the Dash and the Stars next. Tonight from Houston, Texas, the National Women's Soccer League is proud to present the Houston Dash playing host to the Chicago Stars. Week 21 in the NWSL and the standings as we are getting down to it here in 2025. Houston and Chicago on the outside looking in of the playoff picture right now. But for Houston, 3 points tonight. They go level with points with Racing Louisville, who currently occupy that final playoff spot. With the former England international Leanne Sanderson, I'm Josh Eastern. Thanks so much for being with us here from Shell Energy Stadium. You look at this matchup a couple of months ago between Houston and Chicago, probably thought, man, that's two teams at the bottom of the standings. Now, you look at it a couple months later, these two teams have found some momentum.
Yeah, both have definitely turned the corner. I mean, Chicago Stars need to pick up more wins as opposed to tying games, Josh. I think for the Houston Dash, what Fabrice Courtois brought in is that stability. Similar, both these teams are very in a similar run of form right now. Utah Royals ended up beating the Houston Dash last game, but I think they're in a really good run of form. And, you know, Houston Dash are not far off the playoffs. And I think when you look at this team and you look at the addition of Clarissa Lyricey, you know, she's been fantastic since coming. This is her first game against the San Diego Wave. You know, she gets a goal, gets an assist. It's that little separation touch there, Josh, for me, that does it all. You know, it might look really simple. It's her runs in behind, penetrating through the middle. The composure to pick out Yasmin Ryan here, it might look really simple, but it's the run, the ability to get her head up, you know, doesn't let it go, to find Yasmin Ryan in that moment, and it's a great finish. People could say it seems like a tap-in, but I think you have to be in the right place at the right time.
For the Chicago Stars, B. Franklin has found her shooting boots.
2 in 2, and she's done incredibly well since Anders Jakobsen's come in there, and Ella Massa as well, working with her, because I don't think B. Franklin makes these types of runs, gets into those areas. If this is 3 or 4 months ago, it's a fantastic ball in from Ludmila as well, but that type of run there, she would have made that run. Now she's got 2 in 2, and anybody that's spoken to, anybody that's seen her, she's a player that's in a really good run of form that wants every single game to come quick and fast.
Building you up to first kick tonight from Houston, it's the Dash and the Stars kickoff coming up.
Facts.
Shell Energy Stadium in Houston, Texas is our site. It's the Houston Dash and the Chicago Stars. A warm evening here in Texas. Starting lineups for head coach Fabrice Courtois, a 4-4-2 tonight. A Houston team looking for a rebound after last week.
Yeah, and you look at these changes that he's made in that back line area. You know, Caitlin's come out the lineup. Malia Berkeley gets her first start since coming over from the North Carolina Courage. And I think, you know, it'll be good for her to build those relationships with Paige Nielsen in that centre-back role. But I think it's all about Van Santen on this left-hand side. Delaney Sheehan will be looking to come inside as well, maybe occupy those spaces in the 10. Lyricey, we highlighted her pre-game, and Yasmin Ryan being higher up as well. And for the Chicago Stars team, I mean, you look at them, Sam Staub is having a fantastic season since being a, 3 years in a row Iron Woman, alongside Hendrick in that moment as well. Manaka getting the start in this game will be massive for her, because she's come into the game, she's done fantastically well, but hasn't really started many games. B. Franklin is in a great run of form, but I love this three. We're looking for Ali Schlegel to drop into the 10. Ludmila and Jamise Joseph are so good. Their chemistry is so good, that front three, and Ali Schlegel will be in behind.
And we talked to Jamise Joseph about the change in mentality with the Chicago side.
I think we're actually starting to believe in our ability to play and to possess the ball, and I think we're just trusting in each other's abilities, whether it's speed, going in behind, where it's defending. But I think we're really buying into it all. I mean, we have nothing to lose, so I think that's really helping us all.
And Jamise, you're out for a period of time with an injury. You're fully back now. You're looking good, looking sharp. How are you feeling within yourself?
I'm feeling good. Still trying to get to that 100% that I feel like that I can be, but I think being off and being able to watch my team play and stuff like that within those months really helped me to see how I can fit into the group and how I can see myself in the positions and how to receive the ball from the center backs or midfielders and stuff like that. So I think that really helped me, just taking the time to watch the game and see how my team plays to better myself when I was able to come back.
And I love yours and Ludmila's, connection in there with Ali Schlegel. Can you talk a little bit about the chemistry that you guys have?
Ali Schlegel is great with her back to the goal, and she's really good at holding the ball up, turning, and slipping balls. So we work on that in practice all the time, just being able to read one another. And with Lud, she's so fast, it's really easy to dictate her runs and know what kind of run she wants to do. So just by looking at her movements and stuff like that in practice helps in the game.
Jamise Joseph in the starting lineup tonight. 2 goals, 2 assists for the second-year pro out of NC State. Yasmin Ryan has really been a big part of what Houston has done as of late in those attacking areas. But we are set for first kick tonight. Our referee is Abdu Njai. VAR is Laura Rodriguez. Chicago in black, Houston in orange. There is the whistle, and we are underway tonight from Houston, Texas. The Dash and the Stars. Second matchup of 2025 between these two sides. You have to go all the way back to very early on in this season. March 23rd, it was a 2-1 win for Houston on that night. It was Paige Nielsen and Delaney Sheehan getting on the board. Jamise Joseph scored the opening goal in that game for Chicago. And now coming into play tonight, it's a Houston side that they have been fantastic since the restart of the season after the summer break. A 6-game unbeaten streak was snapped last week with a 2-0 loss at Utah. 0 shots on goal in that game, and as head coach Fabrice Gatras said, just a lot of factors, altitude, a lot of road games. We just didn't play our best that night. Yeah,
and I think it's inevitable. Eventually you will lose games in this league, but I definitely think they've turned the corner. I mean, Fabrice Gatras spoke to us about how he's had to kind of look from within. What can he do to best help his players? And I think you're seeing that. Sometimes the break of the season came at the right time for some teams and came at the wrong time for some teams, because a lot of these teams, especially these two, have picked up momentum since the break.
Houston has played just 2 games at home since the restart of the season. A 1-1 draw against Seattle back on August 24th. That was their last home game. And then all the way back on August 8th, a 2-1 win against North Carolina. And early on, it's Houston on the ball. Chicago has really dominated this series overall. And trying to continue that this season. And here comes Houston into the attack. Kiki Van Zen deflected. Shot blocked. A chance, though, for Houston to reset things. This will run all the way to the end line. It runs out of play, and a corner kick is awarded here to Houston in the opening 2 minutes.
Really nice direct play for Kiki Van Santen in that moment, picking up the ball, centrally, very direct. Hendrick has to do better there. You can't just swing at it like that. Sam Staub does well to hold her ground in that moment. Looked like Alyssa there had it covered, but I like that from Sam Staub.
Staub has been a 90-minute performer week in, week out for this Chicago side, and right back in the starting lineup again here tonight. First corner kick to the top of the 6-yard box and headed away. Sarah Puntigam getting the start in the middle tonight. Some injuries in those midfield areas now. Maggie Graham placed on the season-ending injury list. Sophie Schmidt the same. Naka just trying to win the ball back for Chicago. Eventually earns the whistle. It'll be a free kick going to the Stars.
And I think, Josh, when you look at these two teams, historically, they concede goals. The Chicago Stars haven't kept a clean sheet since May 4th. Then you look at the Houston Dash before the San Diego Wave game, hadn't kept a clean sheet since May 11th. So if you don't keep clean sheets, you have to hope you outscore everybody else. And that's always going to be a difficult feat. And I think, I was quite surprised that Natalie Jacobs went over, because she was doing so well at that moment in time. I understand it's, personal reason for her to go to the Courage. Berkeley's come in as well. But I think that back line, along with Jane Campbell, were in such a great run of form. So it's difficult moments when you have to change things around. Chapman's also come out the lineup, which I was quite surprised at as well.
Game last week against Utah was the first time that Houston had conceded multiple goals in a game since August 2nd, the 2-2 draw against Bay. And now it's Chicago having to defend another set piece. To Gam. It's Ryan instead, putting this in a dangerous area, all the way through that 6-yard box and out for a goal kick. Malozia trying to chase after that one. We'll look at Anders Jakobsen, the interim head coach of this Chicago side. Said about the 1-1 draw against Portland, okay performance. Didn't get the energy that he needed from his team, but he told us that this team is starting to believe so much more than earlier in the season. They feel like when they were getting draws, they were happy early on. Now they get a draw, and they feel like it's 2 points lost.
Yeah, I like Anders Jakobsen a lot, and I've had 2 conversations with him now, and I feel really excited about the prospect that he's interim now, but he's going to be there along with Martin Sjögren as well. So I think what this Chicago Stars team need is stability. Every player needs that individually. When you have so many different coaches, so many different changes, they're being pulled in so many different directions.
Here's Jamise Joseph. Joseph hesitating across blocks. Puntigam stepping in. A rollout forward throw, and Chicago their first venture forward tonight.
I think you have to give Ella Massa a lot of credit as well, because you know, she's been there as the assistant, she came in as the interim, and I think for these players you can see, and I said it last week on air, as a player, you know, as soon as a coach walks into a locker room before they have even spoken, if they have a bit about them. As a player, you're always judging your coach when they walk in, and I think both these coaches have that bit about them.
Fabrice Gautra, first season as head coach here in Houston. And there is a player down here for Houston early on. It is Jane Campbell. It's an early stoppage here and a chance for both managers just to get a sense of things in the opening 5 minutes.
We talk about stability for both these teams. You look at the Houston Dash last year, they was almost in a similar moment that the Chicago Stars were in as well. You know, a lot of the stuff off the field, they didn't have a GM. Ricky Clark came in, did a good job, relatively speaking, and then, you know, there's just so many different things happening. So I think both these teams have turned the corner as well. I speak a lot about stability, but it makes a massive difference.
Some news this week in the NWSL with the announcement of a new NWSL Combine that will be starting in December of 2025, 3 days each, invitation only. This is something we've seen a lot in the NFL. The NFL Combine is a big thing. Now it's coming to the NWSL, a chance for young players to show their skill.
Yeah, and I'm excited for this. I think it's a little bit of an unknown. Everybody is comparing it to NFL Combine, and I think this is just a great example of when people and players, you know, sometimes players might not be found. Obviously, we don't have the college draft anymore, Josh, so it's almost like there are some players. Look at Paige Matea, you know, she was a walk-on to the Spirit team and then ends up becoming part of the roster. So I welcome this type of thing. You know, I'm excited to see what it's going to be like with regards to, you know, I'm sure they're going to be doing the beep test, the yo-yo, a lot of different fitness, you know, a lot of different point turns and those types of things. So I'm intrigued to see what it's going to look like. But I'm all for, you know, opening up the market to be able to find players. And maybe there is a hidden gem.
Jane Campbell back on her feet. Club record here in Houston for appearances, starts, saves, and shutouts. It's been with this team since 2017 after playing her college soccer at Stanford. Sam Staub ready to throw it back in. Has a long throw in her locker. Gets it all the way to the edge of the 6. Knotted down, out of play, and Chicago will get a first corner kick now tonight.
This looks like our game last night with Jonsdottir, Josh, when she has that long throw as well. It's such a incredible set piece to be able to have that in your locker, to be able to find somebody, because 9 times out of 10 it goes out for a corner and you're able to put a little bit more pressure on the goal.
First corner kick of the night for Chicago. Manaka plays it short. Jamise Joseph, top of the area. Grosso, shot was blocked. Heresy there was flying out to get the block on it, and now Houston a chance to go in transition. And for Laracy, and out of play.
Good recovery there from Malum. I think the ball from Avery Patterson just needed to be played into the space a little bit more for Laracy to make that run. But I think you can see the purposeful running the Houston Dash have now. You know, they're not sitting back. They're trying to catch teams in transition, which is not something we've seen them do in previous years.
Now it's Chicago looking to come back the other way. It's something we've seen so much with Chicago is at the beginning of the year, it was a team in the Stars that just sat behind the ball and looked to break. now they're enjoying a little bit more time on the ball as Chicago, as Anders Jakobsen telling us he wants to see a little bit shorter passes, more time on the ball, and we'll see how that bears out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and it was music to my ears, because I think it's easy giving an opinion and seeing things from this side, but what I've seen consistently from the Chicago Stars is their distances between the lines were far too big. You know, people often look at teams that concede, but it starts from the front. The first, you know, line of defense is the front, and I think they have lacked that in recent years. They've given away the ball far too easily. I think under Lorne Donaldson didn't really have an identity, and I think what you can see now, both these teams go into games believing they can win, not going into games just thinking, how do we not lose this game?
Lucia got it caught in her feet, but gets it away for Jane Campbell. Clearance to try to find Yasmin Ryan, and after a bright start in the opening couple of minutes for Houston, Chicago now starting to put their mark on this match. Gonna roll it down the line. It comes back infield. Grosso. Now Lozia trying to get it away. Puntigam in the middle. Chance to look upfield. Delaney Sheehan forced to turn it back for Yasmin Ryan. This match is brought to you by Tide, the official laundry care partner of the NWSL. Loaded forward again. Another header in. James trying to settle in here early on. Ludmila, her first touch on the ball tonight. What a month of August it was. Player of the month in the NWSL, Ludmila. Now trying to carry that momentum into September and on through decision day, the first weekend of November.
Yeah, I love Ludmila. I think she's been excellent this season. I think Anders Jakobsen just asking a little bit more from his centre forward to defend from the front, a little bit higher, put that pressure on like Jamise Joseph is doing now, to not allow other teams to play out from the back. But I think Jamise Joseph, Ali Schlegel as well. What I love about Ali Schlegel, she also makes really unselfish runs centrally.
Playing it down the line. Is bouncing away from Yasmin Ryan and out of play. For Chicago, unbeaten in their last 7 since the break. That's a win and 6 draws. They only have 1 loss in their last 10 games. A 1-0 loss against Portland all the way back in June. This is a team that has really started to turn a page. And as Anders Jakobsen told us, had a conversation with Kathy Hendrick about, before you got here, we were happy with the draw. Now we feel like we should be winning games. And now it's trying to turn the 1 point into 3 points, but it's a step-by-step process for Chicago.
Yeah, and you can feel it from the players. They believe they can do it. You know, you don't want to keep tying games, but I do think the way that their performances are, they've really turned a corner. You can see exactly what they're trying to do.
And an early change coming for the Houston Dash. We saw Jane Campbell go down early. She will have to come off inside of 12 minutes, and it will be a change in goal with Abby Smith coming on. Very experienced goalkeeper in Abby Smith. Has started a couple of times this season. There was some controversy about Smith coming in and taking the spot of Campbell. Now it's because of injury.
Yeah, not things you love to see. I mean, Jane Campbell, what a servant she's been to this football club. You know, been there through the good, the bad, and the ugly. Somebody that you can rely upon. So hopefully she's going to be okay. See the frustration there, which I completely understand. And you're right, Josh, Abby Smith has come into a couple of games this year, did relatively well. It was a massive call from Fabrice Couture to bench Jane Campbell at the time. Paige Nielsen was also benched at the time, and these are players that are key players, you know, leaders within the team. Not just how they play on the field of play, it's how they are off the field. So I think hopefully, you know, Jane Campbell will be okay. Abby Smith coming into this game.
Abby Smith has made 5 appearances so far here in 2025, but has not played since June 13th against San Diego. Had a 5-game run in May and into June. It has been all Jane Campbell since, and I think some earrings are needing to come off before she can come on, as Campbell will go straight to the locker room. It's interesting now because Houston, it was just Abby Smith on the bench as the backup. So no more goalkeepers available on the bench for Fabrice Couture.
It's amazing how things can change in a short space of time, you know. Spoke about Natalie Jacobs no longer being there before the game, and then now Jane Campbell's been injured. But no doubt Abby Smith can come in and do a good job. Previously done it 5 times this season. And it's a big ask as well, because as a goalkeeper, you don't really usually come into games unless there's been an injury to the other goalkeeper. You know, it's never going to be a tactical change in a game, but I do think, you know, you have to be concentrated, and obviously Abby Smith has to be concentrated, because as a goalkeeper, if they make a mistake, it goes in the back of the net. If I'm a centre forward and I make a mistake, no one remembers it.
A changing goal. Abby Smith will have to get up to speed in this game very quickly, and now if you're Chicago, chance to try to test the new goalkeeper. Long throw, flicked along. Jamise Joseph commits the foul. Free kick back to Houston.
That looked pretty soft to me. I just feel like Jamise Joseph just looked like she used her strength in that moment. We'd have to take another look, but to me it just looked like she used her strength. She wasn't really complaining about it, so potentially it probably was a foul.
Colaprico, former Chicago player in her past, tries to move it out wide. Alozia able to keep it in play. Now Malia Berkeley over the top, wearing number 10 for Houston. We have a center back with Tara McKeown wearing number 9. Now we have a center back in Malia Berkeley wearing number 10. Throw those, what do you want to say, the old-fashioned number regulations?
I love it.
Out the window.
I feel like that would be on like a quiz, not something you ever really see, because usually numbers are based upon position, but maybe Tara McKeown and Berkeley are kind of recreating those moments. Something you don't see very often, especially number 10, like the main playmaker.
And at least Tara McKeown for Washington, she used to be a striker in college. Malia Berkeley, she's center back, tried and true. Now it's more time on the ball for Houston. Quick passing, and it comes out wide for Avery Patterson.
I like that little bounce from Delaney Sheehan. I think that's something they can definitely make the most of, just bouncing it around the corner. I think if I was being hypercritical, I think they have to go forward on that secondary one. They can't go all the way back to the keeper.
Started again with Berkeley, partnering with Paige Nielsen. Katie Landu is in her 6th season with Houston, a former Chicago Star player. Moved to the bench, has been a very key cog on the back line in prior years here in Houston, but Lind, her spot taken now by Berkeley. He's played it behind again, and Paige Nielsen is there to retrieve.
Yeah, I felt for Lind coming into that last game, because it was just one of those games, we have him as a player where you just have to hold your hands up and say, you know, it wasn't their best performance and these things happen. But the fact that Lind was the change that came in and made a number of mistakes in that game, it's a harsh one, because now she's dropped to the bench and Berkeley's come in there. But no doubt Berkeley was always going to be that player that went straight back in there, because they acquired her in the trade.
Berkeley has spent the last 4 years with North Carolina. Spent 1 year in France out of college as well. Patterson for Kiki Van Zanten. Right back for Avery Patterson. Gonna run right at Taylor Malum. Patterson cuts it back all the way through. Yasmin Ryan over the bar. That long sequence of possession eventually ending with a tangible shot.
Yeah, brilliant play from Avery Patterson down this left-hand side. I actually think Yasmin Ryan should do better here. I'm not saying it's an easy chance, but just leans back, doesn't really show much composure. Everybody's kind of lining up there, as Alozia's there as well. I'd expect her to at least hit the target of a player of Yasmin Ryan's quality. But again, getting into those positions, really good. Avery Patterson down this left-hand side, really, really good. Because we haven't really seen the forwards get in the game, really, at all. We haven't spoken about Leracy in this game yet. 18 minutes in, we haven't really spoken about Ludmila or Jamise Joseph, because the ball has been a lot in the defensive areas.
Rick gets the pass away. Grosso is fouled. Colaprico went to ground. Prico has spent the majority of her career with Chicago, 2015 to 2022. She's passed the 15,000 minute mark in the regular season in the NWSL as well in her career. Stalwart in the middle of the park in each of her 3 stops before this with San Diego.
And there's some players that you think of, when you think of a team, you think of that team. And when I played against the Chicago Stars many times, Danica Prico was integral in that, along with Vanessa Di Bernardo. And I think she's one of those players that kind of sometimes goes under the radar, but if you take her out of a team, you'll notice she's not there. She's always in the right position. I think sometimes maybe she could get better at going forward, but I like her positioning. I think she's difficult to get by.
Grosso. Franklin trying to keep it moving. Manaka got a touch on it. Larissy lets it run through. Hendrick, though, comes up with it. Schlegel trying to play in Ludmila. Nothing there. And here's Kiki Van Zanten.
You can see exactly what Ali Schlegel was trying to do there. Gave a little thumbs up. You can see what Ludmila thought of it as well, because she was trying to pass the ball early. I like that idea.
Velosi has come forward, puts this towards goal, and Alyssa Nair is there to hold on to it. Alyssa Nair is getting closer and closer to 700 saves. She currently has 692 coming into play tonight. Has the most in NWSL history, does Nair. Here's Sheehan. Plenty of space in the middle for Yasmin Ryan to run into. Ryan letting go, and it's right over the bar. Couple of decent efforts from Yasmin Ryan, but yet to test Nair in goal.
Yeah, I like Yasmin Ryan picking up the ball in these areas. A nice little ball from Delaney Sheehan, who I think has been really active, but for me, doesn't really have much conviction. It's almost like she didn't believe in her strike. Alozia made a really good run out wide. Lericy's always active and always on the move, but I think Yasmin Ryan needs to just continue to get into those areas, because I think she really turned the corner with this team of late. I mean, a lot of people question, where does Yasmin Ryan play? Where can she play in the 8, the 4? When she's with Gotham, she's playing loads of different positions. And I think, you know, she's finally found, and I asked Fabrice Control a lot, you know, what is her best position? I think out wide is for her to be able to come inside.
And across towards the top of the area. It's the loose ball picked up in the middle. Puntigam will get it back. Puntigam moving it down the line. Delaney Sheehan right on the edge of the area, cuts it in field. Delaney Sheehan, little screen in front by Larissy. It's out of play. Corner kick coming.
Decent effort from Delaney Sheehan, but I think she does so well here. She's been so good in this first half, you know, Puntigam does really well to keep it alive. It was almost like in slow motion from the Chicago Stars. And then Delaney Sheehan comes inside. I think if she goes far post, you have the rest of the goal completely gaping, and then she lowered, like, it was such an acute angle by the time you go to the near post. Yes, it's gone out for a corner, but I think if you go far post, Alyssa Nair's got no chance.
Corner kick for the Dash. Sheehan puts it up. Nothing on for Houston initially, but able to keep possession. Sheehan. Puntigam again. Taylor Malum right there. It's deflected out of play. It'll be a throw-in.
I think Delaney Sheehan's had a really good opening 23 minutes or so. I think she's been everywhere. We mentioned in the pre-game she might be on the left, she might be on the right, but I think she kind of looks like she's got a free role, almost in that number 10 spot, and I think she's causing a lot of problems for Chicago Stars midfield. B. Franklin has not been able to get higher. We mentioned in pre-game, highlighted the fact that she's been a little bit more fluid in the attack, but they're being pinned back.
Floated over the top, Sheehan. Sheehan got a touch to it, keeps it alive. Kiki Van Zanten blocked. B. Franklin tracking back, blocking it out. Corner kick coming.
Right on call when I said her name. B. Franklin does so well here, but you cannot let this ball bounce. The back line, I'm really surprised that Manaka and Sam Stobb allowed this ball to bounce in there, because Alyssa Nair, you know, has to be communicating somewhat, but at the same time, they can't allow that ball to bounce. I think they got away with one there.
Sheehan floats it up, And in the side netting, nothing on there on the second corner kick in the matter of moments for the Dash. Houston has to be pleased now about this response growing into this game. Early on, Chicago had a few of the early chances.
Definitely, and I think Anders Jakobsen will be quite disappointed with how his team's being pinned back. You know, fair play to Houston Dash. They're sitting really high. Look at this. They're pressing really, really high. They got out of that really well, Chicago Stars.
Other action in the NWSL tonight, kicking off at the same time, Orlando and North Carolina. Another game tonight is Utah hosting Louisville. Doubleheader tomorrow night on Ion, 7:30 it starts. Kansas City, chance to win the Shield officially. Portland, San Diego late night, and then your game on ESPN on Sunday night, Bay and Gotham.
Yeah, some really good games. I love the fact we had a Thursday night game last night as well, Josh, because who doesn't want more football? And especially when, you know, the playoffs are coming thick and fast, and we know that NWSL has teams that make it that nobody expected. I mean, Houston Dash going into this game with 3 points off the playoffs. It's crazy to even think about that. And they were my team that I tipped to not necessarily win the championship or win the Shield, but like to do better than they did last year and be up there competing. And I think beginning of the year, they were quite underwhelming, but I think the second part of the season, they've looked really, really good.
A couple of teams to keep your eye on tonight, right around that playoff line. Houston, of course, in this one tonight. North Carolina, who's in a tight one with Houston, or pardon me, with Orlando. And then Louisville later on tonight. But Utah, as Houston found out, can play some spoiler down the stretch.
Yeah, Utah have really turned the corner a little bit. And I think sometimes when you lose, you're arguably the best player in Ali Sentinel, everybody else has to step up. But I think incorporation of Lacasse being back and, you know, Paige Monahan as well, I think that's really added a different dimension to them.
Possession in the early going the way of Houston. Not what Anders Jakobsen would necessarily like to see after his comments this week to us, saying we want to be on the ball a little bit more. Staub tries to play over the top. Header there by Nielsen. Comes off to the near side. Ludmila right down the line for Jamise Joseph. Joseph weaving. Deflection comes out to Ludmila, whose shot is blocked. She'll get a second chance, Ludmila. Running out of play. Corner kick awarded to Chicago. It's been a game of corner kicks so far in this game. Houston had 3. It's already the second now for Chicago.
Yeah, both sets of players, I think, were active, but I think Jamise Joseph and Ludmila were just showing a little bit too much of the ball to the Houston Dash players. You'd expect them to do, you know, get half a yard and try and put the ball into the box. But they got a corner.
It's Manaka. Driven ball in, back post, header down and wide. And since Abby Smith has come into this game, Chicago still has not been able to test the new goalkeeper.
That was a decent ball into the box, had a lot of power and a lot of pace on it. You can see Colaprico, by the time it fell, couldn't quite get it on frame.
The Chicago team, that is the second team in NWSL history to go unbeaten in 7 or more games without a clean sheet. It's good that they're getting those results, but now trying to lock things down on the other end, and that might turn into maybe getting more results because they're scoring plenty of goals.
Yeah, for sure, and I think when you have that attacking threat like they do up top with Jamise Joseph and Ludmila, I mean, Ludmila's having a fantastic season.
Here comes Houston again. Ryan not able to connect, but Ryan wins it back. And now numbers here for Houston. It's Yasmin Ryan! Ryan sticking with the play and giving Houston the opening tally tonight.
Brilliant goal, brilliant play, great defensive pressure. You could see that. I thought the first one, she was trying to play Lara C, poorly executed. She had options here. I was thinking, is she going to play this? Drops her shoulder. Great composure from Yasmin Ryan. I spoke previously about the 2 opportunities she had. Lacked composure, for sure. That one did not lack any composure. It's such a great strike. I love that. She had options with Van Santen and Lara C as well. And that's exactly what the Houston Dash needed in that moment. It was fantastic play from Yasmin Ryan to put the press on, to defend it from the front in that way, and showed great composure to put it in the back of the net.
For Houston, coming off their first loss since June, wanting to get back to it after a tough one last week. No shots on goal. Fabrice Gautrat said, we need to get back to out-dogging everyone. We need to be a little bit more gritty. Yasmeen Ryan staying with the play and then delivering for the dash to give them the opening goal tonight.
Yeah, and I think Fabrice Gautrat will be delighted with that because they're in a good frame of mind right now. Yes, you'll lose games in the league, it's inevitable. But I think anybody that's spoken to Fabrice Gautrat will know he's a big fan of stats. He's a big XG guy, data type of guy. But I think sometimes your eyes don't lie. And I think when you look at players like Yasmeen Ryan coming over from Gotham, Delaney Sheehan, sometimes, you know, it takes coaches and players a little bit more time to get on the same page. And that's all I saw with Houston Dash. I think that break midway through the season for the competitions that we saw came at the right time for the Houston Dash because they're looking like a completely different team. Both these teams, not tonight, the Chicago Stars, I think they've resorted back to type. To be fair, they look like they're on the back foot. But I think you look at this Houston Dash team, they're like really fun to watch now. And the Chicago Stars. Yes, they tie a lot of games, but you look at this fixture before, Josh, people would be thinking this game's not going to be that good. Whereas I look at this game tonight, I was excited.
And the Chicago team that seemingly coming into their own. It's a Houston team that is trying to make a push to the playoffs. No playoff appearances since 2022. That's been their only appearance in the NWSL playoffs. This match is brought to you by Tide, the official laundry care partner of the NWSL. Now it's Chicago trying to come from behind. They don't have a win this year when conceding first. Schlegel for Manaka. B. Franklin keeps it moving. Angel down the line. Ludmila looking for options, now lifts it in. Manaka's there. How about Avery Patterson coming over? Still a chance. And Abby Smith makes her first save of the night.
Unbelievable defending from Avery Patterson, because for me, that would have been a goal for sure. We see Ludmila has this in her locker. She was able to set up B. Franklin in a couple of games ago to be able to put that in the back of the net. And that is such great defending from Avery Patterson. Because I think, you know, maybe Abby Smith would have had it covered in that moment, but it's brilliant to play. But that's exactly what the Chicago Stars need to do. Put the pressure on Abby Smith. They have not done that since she come into the game.
A Chicago team that has conceded the most goals this year in the NWSL. So it's nothing different for them having to come from behind. They've been in these situations before, but now with that change in mentality, maybe that'll frustrate them even more.
Yeah, they definitely have turned the corner. I mean, they have it in them. I think if this was last season, you'd be thinking, you know, Chicago Stars have an ability to capitulate and kind of, it would be a matter of how many, but I think the Chicago Stars team are completely different this time around. You know, they're resilient, they have that fire in their stomach, you know, you can see it, they'll keep pushing.
Zanton comes centrally. Delaney Sheehan. This one's behind Michelle Lozia, just slows things down now for Houston.
I think it's also really important to highlight the progress of the Chicago Stars, because yes, they're not winning games, they're tying games, they're 1-0 down in this game, but I think you look at the Orlando Pride game that they played at Northwest and they win that game 5-2. First game of the season, Josh, was 6-0. You know, they go behind to the Portland Thorns due to a set piece, they come back into the game. So there's so many positive things to take for the Chicago Stars team.
Chicago has avoided defeat 7 times this season when they have trailed. First team to do it that many times since Seattle and Kansas City did it in 2022. A team that has showed its resilience here in 2025. Here's Kiki Van Zanten. Keeps it moving. Malia Berkeley's come forward now for Houston. Yasmeen Ryan, the goal scorer. Ryan up to 4 goals this year. Alozia, the cross. Just about dealt with there by Chicago. Joseph trying to turn out of a double team here.
I look at the changes they've also made. Martane's not available due to an excused absence. And I think she is a big loss to this team because, you know, it changes the way the team have played. I mean, Manaka, I think, did well when she came on in the last game. She got a couple of shots off, but I think that the rotation in the midfield just doesn't look right to me. They're sitting in a 3. They're quite flat. B. Franklin is that pivot player centrally, and Julia Grosso, who's going out to the ball now. But it just doesn't look right, the balance of the midfield. I think Maitane allows the rest of them, because she's always in the right position, to go forward a little bit more.
Talking to Anders Jakobsen, he even brought up Sam Staub as a potential option that could play in the midfield. So still trying to figure things out is Anders Jakobsen, and how to get the most out of this Chicago team in the interim role before Martin Hugeren comes in next year. Dancing on the ball. Ryan trying to come in field, thought her jersey was pulled. Now it's Grosso trying to play out for Chicago. A foul here and a free kick going Chicago's way. On Saturday, Ion's doubleheader gets started from Kansas City as Golden Boot contender Temwa Shawinga and the Current host the Seattle Reign, followed by Sam Coffey and the Portland Thorns taking on the San Diego Wave. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Ion. A chance for Kansas City to clinch the Shield officially tomorrow. I feel at this point it's probably a foregone conclusion, but it can be done officially tomorrow.
Yeah, they've been brilliant this year. I mean, Vlatko Andonovski, his team, individually, the players have been so good.
For Kansas City, just trying to keep things rolling. We were talking last night in our match about how good they've been this year and putting it in the context of the bigger picture of NWSL history. But then I posed the question to you, do they have to win the title to say that they can be one of the best teams ever?
I think so. I mean, obviously it's quite different in America, and if you win the Shield, no one really talks about it that much. It's all about the playoffs, which I completely understand. I think the Orlando Pride last year, there's only two teams that ever did it previously, along with the Orlando Pride, so it's not an easy thing to do. But you look at the way the standings are, I think where you finish in the A, I think it's massive, because you have that home field advantage, which I do think is a massive advantage to have. Not saying teams can't win away from home, but I just think it's more difficult.
Kansas City will have the chance to do it on their home fields. I'm sure they would love to be able to lift that shield in front of those home fans. Houston, maybe they could be one of those teams that takes on Kansas City in the first round of the playoffs. They got to get there first, but a goal on the board tonight and the 3 points that would come with it would go a very long way. Free kick on the way here for Houston. Team that's trying to get back on it after that loss last week against Utah. But Fabrice Cotras said, we just have to move past that performance. We've had a lot of reflection in that summer month. He called it basically another preseason for his team, and they were really able to get things going on track.
And you can see as well, I mean, sometimes it's not only what you're doing on the field of play, sometimes it's watching video analysis, match analysis, having conversations with each other, and sometimes things just take a little bit longer than we expect. I mean, the players that they brought in, Yasmin Ryan, Delaney Sheehan, those types of players, along with already having quality players there like Paige Nielsen, Jane Campbell, and those types of players. Sophie Schmidt obviously is no longer available for the rest of the season, but she's had an integral role coming off the bench, scoring goals. So I think everybody's really chipped in. Alozia came off the bench and scored against Gotham. So I think everybody's really working together really well, and you can just see the difference in this team.
And it's not just the 11 that start the game. 8 of the 24 goals this year, that's a third of them coming into tonight, have been scored by substitutes. So the players coming off the bench really pushing those starters. As Alozia is fouled, it's a free kick on the way for Houston.
And to second that, I mean, nobody likes being on the bench, but I think that leads me to believe it's good communication from Fabrice Cotras and his staff, because the players that are coming in want to have an impact. Yeah, that's a foul all day long. Well done, Alozia. Gets the other side of Sam Angel in that moment.
Set piece on the way. Yasmin Ryan stands over it. Ryan fakes. Now the in-swinger coming back post. Van Zanten got her head to it, but nothing on the end of it.
Yeah, decent work set piece. You can see it was quite difficult for Van Zanten to really get it back on frame, because by the time the ball got delivered, she was almost out of bounds. So decent set piece, nice little intricacy.
Ball did not stay in play. It's a throw-in going back the other way. It'll be interesting at halftime for Houston and Fabrice Gautrat with that substitution window used early in the first half with Jane Campbell coming off. It was Abby Smith coming on. That was the first time that Campbell has ever been substituted in NWSL history, in her NWSL history, all competitions. Something we've never seen ever happen tonight.
No, and she's been an incredible servant to this club. Like I said, you know, been there through everything. One of the only players that's really stayed there through everything. And, you know, she's always at the top of the list that I think not many goalkeepers want to be at the top at, but she's top where there's like the most saves. Alyssa Nair is also there as well. But I think Jane Campbell is a massive leader on this team, and hopefully she'll be okay. But fair play to Abby Smith. She's come into the game and she's looked pretty solid. It's difficult for any player to come in the first half, let alone a goalkeeping change.
Abby Smith, very capable backup, has played 5 matches this season. Very experienced in her NWSL career as well. Boston, Utah, Kansas City, Portland, and Gotham. There's a lot of heat on Fabrice Gautrat when the move was made back in May to play Abby Smith in favor of Jane Campbell. He was asked a lot of questions about it. He stuck with it for about 5 weeks before making the change back to Campbell, and now moving forward, we'll see what comes of it with the injury. A free kick on the way. Yasmin Ryan runs away. Sarah Puntigam curls it in. Comes all the way through to the penalty spot. Berkeley crashing, falls for Sheehan, blocked, still loose, and cleared. Puntigam battling to keep the ball. Here's Van Zanten, and the Dash able to keep it in the final 5 minutes of the first half.
That was so difficult because the amount of numbers that were in the box and the amount of bodies Delaney Sheehan was able to get her shot off in the end, but there was so many numbers from the Chicago Stars and the Houston Dash in proximity in and around the penalty spot. It was so difficult to get it through.
Through the middle, Sheehan. RSC moves it out wide. Alozia coming in. Michelle Alozia parried in the middle. Nair got a hand to it. Flag is up for offside.
And as soon as I saw it, I thought Alozia looked about 2 yards offside, but either way, she didn't know it in that moment. And I think in the end, it was quite a poor decision from Alozia to try and find that front post area, because we can see here 2 yards offside, more or less. Does well to kind of keep her whip, just needs to take a look along. But here, you know, we just cut it off there, but like the ball should have come back. Cut it back to Larissy in that moment, but getting a little bit higher from the Houston Dash, I think it's working for them.
Trying to play out here. A foul as B. Franklin is taken down by Delaney Sheehan.
I think that's really poor from the Chicago Stars. I mean, I'm all for playing out from the back and playing through the lines, but not when the ball's being passed out so slowly, so pedestrian. Got quite fortunate there that they ended up B. Franklin getting a free kick, but that's not something Anders Jacobsen would want them to do for sure, be playing the ball out so slowly out of the back.
That goes back to what Anders Jacobsen wants to see from his team. Higher passing accuracy, shorting passing average, and just more passes overall. So Lozia recovers well. This trickling towards the end line. Berkeley will keep it in play, prevent the corner kick and the throw-in, at least initially. Throw-in now coming for the Stars. Trying to finish this first half strong. Staub in behind. Joseph drives it in. It's over everybody's head. Too tall for Schlegel. It'll be chased down by Taylor Malum here.
You can see Jamise Joseph put her hand up straight away, but it was almost like she didn't really take a look to see who she could pick out in that moment. They definitely had numbers in and around the ball.
Malum, the cross, back post. Abby Smith tracks it well.
Yeah, I like that from Malum being able to get down that right-hand side, but it was always going to be comfortable for Abby Smith in that moment. I think for the Chicago Stars, they just need to kind of put their foot on the ball a little bit more, connect a few passes, find their confidence, because they haven't really been able to possess the ball in the midfield. And then you can see when it went to Jamise Joseph, she just kind of overhits it. Then by the time the ball went to Malum, she didn't really get her head up to have a look.
Here's Van Zanten. Houston going to finish the first half strong. Van Zanten going for it. A knuckling ball that is taken by Nair.
Yeah, you can see what Van Zanten was trying to do in that moment. She was trying to pick up the ball on the left, cut inside, but I think they did really well, the Chicago Stars, with Malum in that moment, and B. Franklin to just kind of crowd the ball. So by the time Van Zanten got her shot off, it was this deflection. It was able to go back to Alyssa Nair.
Patterson tries to get that return ball. Nanaka taking off the ball. Colaprico just cleaning things up in the middle for Houston. Ryan trying to play in behind. Angel got a touch on it. Sheehan delivers out wide. Alozia chops it in fields. Michelle Lozia drives it towards goal. It just evaded that far post and out of play.
Yeah, I like that from Alozia down that right-hand side, cutting inside. I still think it's far too easy. Manaka allows her to come inside, and it's interesting because Alozia scores a lot of problems down that right because the Chicago Stars midfield have been completely pinned back, and I think they've looked uncharacteristically unlike themselves, the Chicago Stars, in the midfield and being pinned back. You can see here, you know, they're trying to play out, but it's just not really on, and then the distances between them are so deep, and then they come straight back at them like we're seeing in this picture here.
4 minutes of stoppage time to close out the first half tonight in Houston. Puntigam turned out wide. Yasmin Ryan, the goal scorer. Puntigam plays it back. Schlegel fouled by Sheehan. Free kick back to Chicago. Houston trying to sweep the season series against the Stars for the first time since 2022. It'd be just the second time they've ever done it. Hendrick trying to come forward, has to turn it back to Staub. All Staub can do is roll it out of play.
See, this doesn't look like the Chicago Stars of late since the break. I mean, it's inevitable. You will have performances that when you're still trying to work through new interim coach and those types of things. I'm not making excuses for them, but I do think they look like they're second-guessing themselves. They're not being, you know, they're not being proactive. They're reactive. They're being too reactive for me. They're kind of looking like they're second-guessing themselves when they're on the ball.
Oh, good work there on the far side. It's cut back in field. Delaney Sheehan stepping over a challenge, keeping it in play, turning it back, and then the pass is blocked. Alozia goes for goal and sends it well out of play.
Excellent play from Leracy down this right-hand side. I have no idea why Delaney Sheehan didn't. You know, we'll see the footwork here. It's brilliant play. I think Angel has to do a little bit better there, get a little bit tighter, but love that little trickery. Things you love to see. Does so well, and I'd love Delaney Sheehan to just hit it. Manaka does relatively well to try and put her off, but I'd love to see that first touch from Delaney Sheehan, the second one, just try and get your shot off.
Leracy, a goal and an assist coming over from Crystal Palace, just her first handful of games here in the NWSL.
And she's looked really, really good. I mean, obviously her first game against San Diego, way of goal and assist, you just mentioned, Josh, but I do think she offers something different because she not only does she make the run, she has good quality on the ball, and I think the Houston Dash work to her strengths. They try to find her. They don't just hit a hit and hope type of ball. They play it into her, and she makes that run.
Here she is on the ball. Leracy running in all by herself. 1-on-4. Trying to beat Staub for pace. Staub had it covered and calmly back for Nair.
I mean, where are her teammates? She did it. I mean, she did the best she could in that moment. She could not put the brakes on at all because she was already in full flow.
I think after that sprint, she'll take halftime here in about 45 seconds. Malum. Grosso Rosso coming through lines. Schlegel. Joseph. Jimmy's Joseph. Maybe slipped over top of the ball there. The ball cleared out of play. Final seconds of this half. And Abdu Njai has brought us to the break here in Houston. Yasmin Ryan's goal is the difference so far through 45 minutes, and Fabrice Gautrat's side is potentially on a way to get into a playoff spot tonight.
Yeah, and I think they deserve to be ahead. I think Yasmin Ryan's played really well, not only the goal. I think Delaney Sheehan's also had a fantastic first half, been everywhere from the right to the left, centrally, and they look really, really confident. I think for the Chicago Stars, Anders Jakobsson's going to have some hard-hitting conversations at halftime because it has not been good enough from them.
Houston and Chicago will hit the locker room here. A warm night in Houston. That's what Fabrice Gautrat said. We want to play to those elements. We hope it's hot and humid. We're used to it. We've seen that Chicago's been a bit slow tonight. Yeah,
they have. And sometimes, you know, the humidity and the feeling and the temperature can work in the Houston Dash's favor. But I do think, like I said, they're a completely different team now to previously. Sometimes that game against Utah Royals, these things happen. They have to push that one to the side. But I think tonight, they've certainly been the better team in most of the areas all over the pitch. And not forgetting they had to make that change with Jane Campbell early on. Abby Smith's come in and looked really commanding, really confident. But the Chicago Stars have not put any type of pressure on her, which I'm quite surprised, because Ludmila, Jamise Joseph, you know, we know how good they can be.
It's the Houston side trying to make their way towards that playoff line, and it was Yasmin Ryan who helped this Houston team in the first half by getting that opening goal. We are now joined by the goal scorer tonight, Yasmin Ryan. Now, Yasmin, just take us through that play and getting on the board here tonight.
Sorry, one more time?
Yeah, just take us through your goal and getting on the board here tonight for the Dash.
Yeah, I had a missed pass, and so it was up to me to counter press and get it back, and it worked out great. I had options, and then I think that definitely confused the defender, and I decided to go for it, so I'm glad I could put it behind in the back of the net.
Yasmin, how much of a corner has this team turned since the break, putting aside, you know, the loss to the Utah Royals? Your team looked really good, really focused, really good on the ball, and you look like you're in a good moment.
Yeah. We definitely needed to come back from that loss from Utah, and we know that we can be a team that competes every single time, and so that was the focus tonight, just come out, compete, and do our thing. So I'm proud that we're up in the first half.
Yasmin, thanks for your time. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Yasmin Ryan of the Houston Dash. We are at the break here in Houston. It's 1-0 Dash at the break. Stay with us for halftime. Halftime from Houston, Texas. The Dash lead the Stars by a goal to nil at the break. Yasmin Ryan breaking the deadlock for Houston in the first half. Welcome back into Shell Energy Stadium with former England international Leanne Sanderson. I'm Josh Eastern. Houston has really been making a push since the summer break. Unbeaten in 6 and then a loss last week, but now up in the first half, they are still trying to push those playoff lines.
Definitely, and you can see they've really turned a corner with this team. Fabrice Gautrat's done a fantastic job, and I think, you know, before this game they were 3 points off. Now look at that, they're creeping, they're getting closer, they have that belief. They have a really good, difficult run of games coming up, but I think this Houston Dash team are picking up form at the right time.
Houston trying to make that push towards the playoff line. San Diego, they're trying to stay above the playoff line, and right now, this is San Diego team that just cannot score.
Yeah, it's so strange because you look at these two teams we mentioned in this matchup tonight. They turned a corner after the break. San Diego Wave, they almost peaked at the beginning of the season. Jonas Seiderval's done a fantastic job. I was talking about it a lot, but I just think at this moment in time, they're lacking that number 9. They're lacking that goal scorer that can put the ball in the back of the net, but they're still a fantastic team to watch.
Your game on Sunday, this will be on ESPN Bay and Gotham. How about Esther as of late?
Oh, unbelievable. I mean, Esther has been really, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel for them all season. Beginning of the year, Gotham wasn't really performing to the levels we thought they could. And now look at them. They could potentially catch the Washington Spirit. No, they're only 6 points off, but Esther has been incredible. She's such a fantastic player. She can score headers, she can score volleys, she can score tap-ins. She's just an absolute dream centre forward. And I've just enjoyed watching her. Since she came over to the league 2 years ago, she's been brilliant.
Latino Heritage Month and a mariachi band in Houston tonight. It's 1-0 to the Dash. They're singing to the tune of 3 points. Bay City here in Houston, Texas, the home to NASA, as the Houston Dash lead the Chicago Stars by 1-0 at halftime. Welcome back inside with Leanne Sanderson. I'm Josh Eastern. Chicago, they've started to turn a corner in mentality and results, but in that first half, just not the same Stars we've seen of late.
Yeah, and I think, they've almost resorted back to type, which I think will cause a lot of problems for Anders Jakobsen. He's going to have some difficult conversations at half-time, because I think we could see some changes as well, Josh, because the midfield rotation, B. Franklin, Julia Grosso have been fantastic this year, but I think Manaka coming in there just left a little bit unbalanced in those areas. So, I'm looking at this team. They've turned a corner. They've got fantastic players in there, but we haven't really seen Jamise Joseph get on the ball at all. And this is the goal from Yasmin Ryan. It's fantastic defending from the front. Sam Stobb uncharacteristically gives away the ball in that area. And then Yasmin Ryan had two options to her left. She had Van Zanten and she also had Lerisi. And she goes alone, fantastic composure, brilliant finish, and puts it in the back of the net.
Yasmin Ryan, 4th goal of the season. Houston trying to creep closer to that playoff line. They have the lead at the break. Second half is next. Gearing up for the second half from Shell Energy Stadium in Houston, Texas. The Houston Dash and the Chicago Stars. Houston leading it 1-0 at the break. Yasmin Ryan's goal, her 4th goal of the season, is the difference through 45 minutes. With Leanne Sanderson, I'm Josh Eastern. Thanks so much for being with us. Feels like it's a push to the playoffs, and a couple of subs preparing. Messiah Bright coming on for Clarissa Lerisi. Will also be Cameron Biegalski coming into this game for Sam Angel. Messiah Bright, a couple of goals and an assist in her first season here with Houston. Biegalski back here with Chicago after spending 2020 with the club.
Yeah, Biegalski started the last game against the Portland Thorns. Has been pretty much of a mainstay in that outside back position along with Malum. But I think Messiah Bright coming into this game, I like Messiah Bright. I've always liked her whenever she's played for Angel City, which is Orlando. But I think I'm quite surprised that Lerisi's coming out of the game, because I think she's been really good.
I wonder how much that sub used in the first half, that substitution window, may be playing into things here about how Fabrice Cotrat has to attack the subs this evening. There is the whistle. We are underway for the second 45 minutes tonight from Houston. Houston looking to hold on to that 1-0 lead and go at least level on points for now with Racing Louisville and North Carolina before Louisville's game kicks off at 10 Eastern time at Utah. North Carolina in action right now against Orlando. This Friday night is all about the playoff line in the NWSL. That first half, just a bit uncharacteristic of the Chicago Stars as of late. Coming into play here tonight with a 7-game unbeaten run since the break. Just 1 loss over their last 10, although it's been a lot of draws. They have as many draws as they have losses this year with 9. Just 2 wins, but now for Chicago, the mentality is about getting those 3 points. Have to do a bit more defending here. Manaka plays it back. Hendrick under some pressure. Forced to just play this out of play. It's a throw-in coming for Houston.
Yeah, the Chicago Stars are sitting so deep, and we talk about being uncharacteristic. I think it looks like, they've almost resorted back to type what they were like at the beginning of the season. I'm not saying anywhere near that when it comes to the quality and personnel, but I think, they looked really confident in previous games, especially the Orlando Pride one of late, winning that 5-2 game. But I think right now, look how compact they are in these areas. It's crazy how deep they are, and they're inviting pressure on.
Ludmila has been a big part of what this team has done as of late. 16 touches, 3 in the opposition box, but hasn't really felt like she's had any dangerous chances in this game.
No, and I don't think any's been created either. I think, Manaka's come into the lineup. Spoke previously about Maitane not being available, and I think there hasn't really been that connector from the midfield to the front.
Lozia just playing it into space. Nobody in an orange shirt there, and Alyssa Nair will come and retrieve. Nair has been the busier of the 2 goalkeepers tonight. Houston putting some pressure on this Chicago side. As we start this second half, 10-4 the shots in favor of Houston. give and go. Malum touching it down the line. Jamise Joseph now for Chicago. Joseph cuts it in. Jamise Joseph. Pretty straightforward save for Abby Smith.
Yeah, good play from Jamise Joseph. Couldn't quite get enough power behind the strike before it went to Abby Smith, but that was really good play. One of the first times we've seen them get into those danger areas in the middle third of the field, being able to play to Jamise Joseph. Only one thing on her mind when she cut inside, but by the time she got a shot off, didn't have enough power on it.
Remember, Abby Smith coming on in the 13th minute tonight for the injured Jane Campbell. Trying to get an update on Campbell. Any prognosis? Here's Malum down the line. Joseph again.
Anders Jakobsen's clearly communicated that Malum needs to get a little bit higher, because we're seeing in these early doors of this second half, they're occupying those spaces down the left, trying to get at the Houston Dash's right side.
Staub wins it back. Staub trying to get the return ball from Schlegel, going into a challenge, and Staub goes down. An awkward looking challenge at that. Colaprico and Staub both down.
Yeah, we'll take another look here. Lovely little back heel from Ali Schlegel to find Sam Staub. But I think Sam Staub will be quite fortunate here not to pick up a yellow card. It was quite innocuous from both players, but I think it almost looked like a yellow card on Sam Staub in this moment for me.
Abdu Njai does have a yellow card in his hand. So once Staub gets back to her feet, the yellow card will be issued. Colaprico back to her feet. She will be able to stay on the field, even with the trainers coming on, because it was a yellow card given. That's only if she's able to continue. And Staub right now is still being looked at by the training staff. Remember, Staub tore her Achilles in the Summer Cup last year and was back within a year. It was a tremendous recovery from Staub. Hope this isn't anything serious.
I mean, Sam Staub has every right to go for the ball. It's a definite foul, but I think most importantly, both players being okay is the most important thing. Yes, it's a yellow card, but just overran the ball just a little bit.
Now it's Sam Staub back on her feet.
Incredible athlete. I mean, the fact that every year we talk about the Iron Women of the league, but the fact that she went 3 years as an Iron Woman is quite incredible. Then she picked up that injury, come back from it early on in the season. Sometimes it takes a little while to kind of get up to the speed of play, but Sam Staub is such a fantastic athlete, great professional.
The last time Sam Staub did not play 90 minutes was when she played 80 minutes against Utah all the way back in April. Every other appearance has been 90 minutes for Staub. And that was still when she was getting back to full fitness less than a year after an Achilles injury, which usually takes about a year to return from. And very, very impressive recovery there for Staub.
Definitely, and I think sometimes in those moments when you have those types of injuries, there could be the mental side of it, those lonely moments when you're doing your rehab on your own. And I think when there's a light at the end of the tunnel, I mean, if Sam Staub's available, that just about shows you, Josh, the stat you just read out. When she's available, you play her as long as you can. Obviously, the player's welfare is the most important thing.
Staub now back onto the field. Chicago back with 11. As Yasmin Ryan puts this in. Dealt with in the middle, just enough, but it comes back to Yasmin Ryan, who puts this up to the back post. Now there's nobody there, and this will harmlessly run out of play.
That's really poor for me from Bogowski. Like, she does really well initially to pick up the ball and then plays the ball straight back to the Houston Dash coming across field.
The first half, Houston was the team that had a little bit more of the ball. Now it's swung in favor of Chicago. That's what Anders Jakobsen would like to see, but now it's taking it a step further and trying to make something of that possession for the Stars.
And I think ultimately finding your best players on the ball. We've barely seen Jamise Joseph. We've really not seen Ludmila at all in those areas. And Ali Schlegel, it just hasn't, the ball hasn't been with them. And I mentioned the midfield before, and I think that's based upon the midfield not finding them the ball. They're trying to find the ball. You can see in this picture here.
Joseph hops over a challenge. Jamise Joseph. Avery Patterson tight defending there. Play to the back post, punched away by Abby Smith. Yasmin Ryan looking to run back the other way. Pivot point in the middle being Puntigam. Now Colaprico picks it up. Nothing on for the dash at that moment.
You see how deep they're having to be. I mean, Bigalski did really well there defending it, the first and second ball, but they're being pinned back so deep. You can see here Masai Bright putting the pressure on in that moment. Henrik did a really good job to actually come away with the ball because she was being put under a lot of pressure. But look how pinned back they are being put this entire game.
Malum.
That was really good play from Malum to be able to break the pressure.
Here's Bigalski now. Surveying, crossing. Steered away by Malia Berkeley as far as Malum. The overlap by Julia Grosso. Grosso will take aim, and it's taken in by Abby Smith.
Well done, Abby Smith, but that's a better look from Julia Grosso. We know she has this in her locker to be able to do. Malum's done really well in this second half. Nice little ball. Decent strike from Julia Grosso. Had a lot of power on it. Comfortable save from Abby Smith. Very commanding. And Abby Smith's looked good since she came into the game. I said they haven't really tested her that much, but moments ago, you know, she punched it, looked really commanding. I'm not a big fan of when goalkeepers punch, but I think it was a really strong hand for Yasmin Ryan to be able to come out with the ball.
This match is brought to you by Tide, the official laundry care partner of the NWSL. Chicago trying to test Abby Smith more and more as this game goes on. Here's Delaney Sheehan, who's had a bright game so far, but that pass broken up. Franklin looking to distribute. It's broken up by Avery Patterson. And here come the dash. Patterson looking for options. Might go herself. Patterson deflected for Sheehan. Now Yasmin Ryan saved. Alyssa Nair. Corner kick dash. Vintage Nair.
Great play from the Houston Dash. Avery Patterson was like, no one's coming to me, I'm going to keep going. Good defending, lovely little touch from Sheehan. Yasmin Ryan does everything right, and this is such a great save. Looks like it takes a slight deflection as well, which makes the save even better. To take a look here, look, takes a slight deflection off of Sam Stobb, and then Alyssa there pulls off a brilliant save. Great save.
Nair closing in on 700 saves, already the leader in saves in the NWSL. Corner kick coming here. Sarah Puntigam will take it. In swinger, near post. Foot down there by Sheehan and cleared away by Jamise Joseph. Colaprico will come to collect. Forward by Berkeley. Here's Yasmin Ryan, is popping up all over the field tonight for Houston. Runs out of play. Chicago trying to continue that momentum in this second half. Still 6 shots, 3 on target. That is more than Houston has in this game, but still nothing to really test Abby Smith.
No, and you look at the benches of both teams and players that they can bring in to affect the game. I mean, you've got Julian that can come together. They've obviously brought Messiah Bright on. And then you look at the Chicago Stars, you know, what players can really come into the game in that attacking area to make a difference.
Sheehan. Patterson able to keep it moving. Ryan used her body well, but doesn't earn the foul. Schlegel. Staub just has to play over the top, but picks out Jamise Joseph. Migelski coming forward. Chicago looking for options in those attacking areas. Floated over the top. Joseph got her feet tangled. This will trickle all the way to the end line and eventually out of play. Joseph is shaken up.
You can't doubt the Chicago Stars' endeavor, and they're really trying to get the ball in that final third, but it looks like almost like a similar performance that the Houston Dash had against the Utah Royals. It was one of those days, it was one of those games. It's still only 1-0. I think Avery Patterson's been excellent in this game, defensively and on the attack, but I still think they can come back into this game, but it's been difficult because I think Houston Dash are doing a really good job at high pressing, being really compact.
And a stoppage here. It's Nair down. This will provide a good moment now for Chicago to talk things over. The mustard packet is out for Alyssa Nair. That is a staple here for some electrolytes. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't actually. I mean, obviously the hot shot, what I used to do before games, I used to drink a shot of salt, water. That's what I used to have. But yeah, I've never really known the mustard.
I've seen the mustard packet before for a couple players here in Houston. I've talked to some other players. They have confirmed the mustard packet. It helps them get back going, I guess.
I mean, whatever
works.
Yep, 100%.
On Saturday, Ion's doubleheader gets started from Kansas City as Tema Shawinga and the current host, the Seattle Reign, followed by Sam Coffey and the Portland Thorns taking on the San Diego Wave. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Ion. And then to close out the weekend, Bay FC welcomes Rose Lavelle and Gotham FC at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. To watch more games and follow your favorite team, check out the schedule on NWSLsoccer.com. You're just joining us here tonight, 28th minute. Yasmin Ryan getting on the board, staying with the play.
Yeah, uncharacteristic light from Sam Staub there, gives away the ball, but it's really good pressure from the Houston Dash. Great composure from Yasmin Ryan. She had two options to the left, Van Zanten and Laracine. She goes alone, and it's a great strike from her.
Ryan's fourth goal of the season in her first season here with Houston. Right now, in the live standings, it would be Houston just on the outside looking in based on goal difference and a couple of other tiebreakers, but level on points with North Carolina and Louisville, who are all on 26. A job that Fabrice Gautrat has done over the last few weeks and months has really paid dividends for this Houston side as they look to get back to the playoffs for just the second time ever.
Yeah, and I backed them before the season started, but they didn't start the season great, but I think they've been good since the break, but they've got 6 games left, you know, and in that time, Josh, they've got to play against the Washington Spirit, Portland Thorns, Kansas City Current. Like, it's a really tough run, but I have no doubt, you know, you look at teams like this, you look at Louisville since the break as well, they had a really difficult run on the road. Everyone was talking about those 4 difficult games for Louisville, and they done well, and it's the NWSL.
We've gotten word from Houston PR. Jane Campbell still being evaluated, but it is a right leg injury for Jane Campbell. Jane Campbell, first time ever that she has been substituted and now munching on some goldfish.
Yeah, I think we're seeing in this matchup tonight, you know, Alyssa Nair and Jane Campbell will always be the top of those lists, and I think they both play for teams that concede a lot of goals, but I can tell you what, they would concede way more goals if those two players weren't in the back of the net.
just checking for blood. Got the stray hand there by Messiah Bright. Smile still works. Just going through all those concussion protocols now. Might get a little bit more stoppage time here in the second half than we did in the first. Quite a few injury stoppages, and during this stoppage, a substitution. Hannah Anderson coming on for Manaka. This will be curious to see now how Anders Jakobsen wants to play this. He did mention Sam Stamp as a potential option of moving up into the midfield. This could be one of those opportunities.
Yeah, I think Manaka really struggled to get a foothold in this game. She was really good coming into the game against her. Portland Thorns was a little bit higher, but sometimes these things take a little bit of time. These three haven't started together in the midfield, and I think, you know, I'll be intrigued to see now. It looks like Sam Stamp has gone into that position.
This comes through the middle. Yasmin Ryan moved out wide for Messiah Bright. Bright puts it across to Anderson there to put it out of play. Corner kick on the way. Anderson, her second season in the pros out of Texas Tech. And a player that Anders Jakobsen said want to see a little bit more of, so we'll get about a half hour tonight. Fifth corner kick of the night. Puntigam in swinger, right on top of goal. Headed away by Schlegel. Sheehan nods it forward. Top of the area, Sheehan keeps it alive.
Really good defending there from Ali Schlegel, because it was a really good ball into the box from Puntigam.
Back for Ryan. Out wide, Sheehan stands it up back post. Good call there by Nair to let Bigelski let it run out of play.
Good communication from Alyssa Nair there and Bigelski to let it go, because those ones are quite difficult. I think Delaney Sheehan will be disappointed to not put a better ball into the box, but Delaney Sheehan, I think, in this game has been very good, been active centrally, popping out wide as well. And I think this press from the Houston Dash has been really good, pressing really high, and I think Chicago Stars have been kind of caught off guard from minute one, really, being pinned back completely.
Joseph lets this run out of play. Just hasn't come together in those attacking areas tonight for Chicago. Still 25 minutes left. Just trying to remedy that.
But you can see Sam Stamp has jumped, as you mentioned, Josh, into that defensive midfield spot. Unfamiliar territory for her, but I've no doubt she can definitely do it. I mean, look at that. Something so simple, but switching the point of attack. She's very composed on the ball. But then who's going to take care of those defensive responsibilities in the back line like she can? Because I think on one end you could gain a player in the midfield, but then you lose someone that's so pivotal in your back line.
Foul here. Bigelski whistled for it. Sam Stamp also does have 4 assists this year, and she is proficient on set pieces. Another look at Bigelski.
And also score set pieces as well.
Yeah. What a goal she scored along the lakefront at Northwestern a couple weeks ago against Orlando, that 5-2 win. Jamila trying to pester. Still no score in Orlando tonight between the Pride and the Courage. Here's Yasmin Ryan. Ryan puts it in the middle. Messiah Bright trying to close it down as well. Nothing on. Puntigam blocked. Comes out for Van Zanten. Van Zanten rolls it in. Alozia flicks it. And Nair is able to collect.
You can see it was a decent little ball for Van Zanten. Alozia made that really good run to the front post, but couldn't quite get it. Hit it on the outside of the foot. By the time it got to her, there wasn't much power on it. Take another look here. Really good for B. Franklin to get out nice and tight to Puntigam. Van Zanten does so well here. Really well. Henrik does a really good job, actually, at getting a little touch because took a lot of the power off the ball by the time it got to Alyssa Nair.
Now it's Alozia who is down and needing treatment. Houston, the rest of this season, will be on the road 3 out of the final 5 matches. One of those games, though, will be against Kansas City. They also have to play Washington coming up next. Not an easy run of games they're running. They're going to be tested.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, Josh, it's going to be difficult times, but I think Fabrice Gautrard and his players have that belief, have that confidence, and you have to have that. They caused an upset, you know, against the San Diego Wave on Alex Morgan's retirement jersey. You know, they have respect for other teams, but they want to win every single game they are in.
And for the Stars, they'll be on the road at least 3 out of their next 4. Another team that is just trying to play spoiler down the stretch. They'll have the chance to do that at Louisville and San Diego.
Yeah, I think they'll still pick up points between now and the end of the season, but I think, you know, you look at the preparation for already next year. I'm excited. I think Anders Jakobsen's done a really good job. I loved our conversations with him. He's open, he's honest, and I think Martin Hurgren coming in will also complement him really well. They're in conversation of what they want going forward. He said he loves this team. He feels like, you know, he feels like a lot of the players with regards to ability-wise are at a level, they're better than he expected them to be. He's very complimentary of his team and the city of Chicago. He said he loves the welcome that he's had from everybody there. So he's got that kind of, you know, but ultimately he wants to win games. That's what he's there for.
So back to play. They are okay to continue on. The message has gotten across now for both teams. Alozia also ready to come back on. Here's Malum. Joseph just had to hold her run. That concedes possession there for Chicago. Alozia right back onto the field and right back into play. Anderson. Blocked by Bright. Chicago will have a throw-in with 20 minutes to go. Lone goal in this game scored in the first half by Yasmin Ryan.
Yeah, I think a lot of these Houston Dash players, a lot of them have had to be quite patient. You know, Alozia hasn't played anywhere near this season as much as we would have expected her to play, but then she came on against Gotham, scored that incredible goal. She can play in a number of positions, and I think they have a lot of versatility in this team.
Schlegel. Schlegel's shot, big deflection on it, out of play. Corner kick Stars.
So they'll continue to push, Josh. I said about this team last year, if this was last year, you can more or less write them off. This year, you can't. They go behind, they're relentless, they'll continue to push. And it is still only 1-0. You know, I think the Houston Dash have played far superior, but no doubt Chicago Stars still have the quality to come in back into this game.
Grosso, out-swinging ball, floated in. Nothing on there for Chicago. Another clearance as far as Taylor Malum. Lifted right back over the top. The header by Anderson is right at Abby Smith.
Yeah, it was difficult. It was a half chance, really. There wasn't, by the time it got put back in and fell to Anderson, there wasn't much power on the ball. But they're getting into good spots. I think they need to continue to push. Doesn't quite catch hold of it in the end, Anderson, but I think they need to continue to push. And I think they need to try and get B. Franklin more central in those 18-yard box. We spoke about B. Franklin pre-game, scoring 2-in-2, but it's the willingness to be able to get into the box. And I just think the distances between the midfield and the forward have been far too great in this matchup tonight, and we haven't seen Ludmila touch the ball, have we?
To close out the weekend, Rachel Kundanunji and Bay FC welcome Rose Lavelle and Gotham Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. Quick on the restart, over the top, looking for Schlegel. Chicago just seems like they've gotten away from what's gotten them here over these last few games. A lot of long balls over the top. They don't necessarily have that target forward up top.
No, and I think it's interesting because it's inevitable when you're on a journey, and a lot of teams talk about being in a transition period. These things will happen. You know, there'll be a few bumps in the road, but it's how you recover from them. And it hasn't been a terrible performance because it's still only 1-0. I just don't think they've played to their strengths. We have not seen their front line on the ball at all.
Houston ready to restart play again. Looking for a clean sheet tonight. Last clean sheet was a couple games ago against San Diego. That was their first clean sheet in quite some time. Let's go all the way back to May 11th, the 1-0 win at Seattle. Malum. Play in behind. That ball put right into the air. Schlegel attacks it. It was too heavy off the chest.
That was a great look from Malum. But again, I have no idea why the Houston Dash are trying to play out from the back like this. They've got Paige Nielsen on the ball, on the edge of the 6-yard box. You've got Abby Smith allowing her to take it, and then Chicago Stars are sitting super high, and that's why that opportunity nearly came about there for the Chicago Stars. So I think Houston Dash need to not be complacent, just continue to play the way they have been playing.
E. Franklin. Here's Ludmila. First time she's been running forward. Ludmila out of play. Chicago is going to be successful. That's what they need more of.
They do, and I'm a big believer in when you're a centre forward or you're an attacking-minded player and you don't really touch the ball within the game, it's difficult to find your confidence. We know how good Ludmila can be, but there's a massive responsibility on her to put the ball in the back of the net. No doubt, she's a quality player. I love watching her. She's done it a lot of times this season, but they just haven't really got her on the ball enough. And if you're a player like Ludmila and you're not on the ball, how are you trying to find your way into the game? You know, 75 minutes in, that's the first time we've really seen her being able to get on the ball in those areas.
10 goals, 1 assist. 5 of those 10 goals came in a 3-game span in August. The player of the month in the NWSL in August, Ludmila. Joseph. Just called a Prico, and now Alozia.
I would say arguably a lot of those goals at 10 have come from her own individual brilliance, Josh. She creates something out of nothing, similar to Esther. But Gotham do create more chances for Esther, along with Kansas City Current and Tenwa Shawinga. But I think the fact that Ludmila's way up there when the Chicago Stars are way down in the table just says how good she's been.
And win a second ball, Puntigam gets it away. Hendrick comes to retrieve at midfield in the final quarter of an hour tonight from Houston. Up over the top, Ludmila. Ludmila latches onto it, puts it out in front, punched away by Smith. Top of the area, Malum. It was Ryan to step in first for Houston. Franklin moves it back. Hendrick floats it ahead. A header away by Alozia, who is still nursing some sort of injury. Malum puts it in front, bouncing through, and eventually out of play. Last off a Houston player. Corner kick coming for the Stars.
Yeah, like I said, Josh, they're going to continue to push. This is what the Chicago Stars team do. You know, even when they're not having their best game, they continue to push. This is Ludmila breaking down that right-hand side. It's a lovely little ball, and Abby Smith does really well there because it's difficult for the goalkeeper, especially when it's underneath her like that.
Grosso plays it back post. Ludmila there, puts it in front. B. Franklin got a touch on it. Ludmila will track it down again for Chicago. Good skill. Ludmila out in front and punched away by Smith. Chicago really testing the Houston keeper now. Ryan goes over, free kick back to the Dash.
This is unbelievable play from Ludmila down this left-hand side. The footwork from left to right to be able to manipulate the ball. It's a really good ball into the box. And to be fair, Ludmila tries to get it back in there, just hits B. Franklin. But look at this. Left to right. Oof, love that. Outside of the football. Well done, Abby Smith again. But love this from Ludmila. That's the quality she has, and we haven't really been able to see it in this game tonight. Not her fault. She hasn't really had the ball.
This match is brought to you by Tide, the official laundry care partner of the NWSL. Now Chicago really starting to test Abby Smith in goal. And a stoppage here as Smith is down. Remember, there is no backup goalkeeper on the bench. Shane Campbell watching on, already taken off in this game. And the training staff forced to come out here. Abby Smith, shoe and sock coming off. Now you start to think about who third string goalie is. Liz Beardsley not on the bench tonight.
This is last night.
Down the list and say who wants to do it.
I was going to say, if this was last night's game we did, Josh, Neely Martin would be that player for Angel City that's done it twice.
Was this a conversation you had to have, though, of who was going to be the emergency keeper?
Thankfully, on any team I've been on, no. And if it was never going to be me, no chance. I mean, gone are the days where the goalkeeper's in, you know, when you're younger in the back of the net, you go in goal and you think, oh, I just have to save the ball. Goalkeeping is an art. Like, it has changed over the years so much. Playing out from the back, you know, it's not just about shot stopping, it's about being able to kind of join in the attack now. Most players join in rondos. You know, most goalkeepers join in rondos. So you have to be really good with your feet now.
Couple of subs. Alicia Chapman will come on for Michelle Lozia. Will also be a debut for Houston. Anna Helferty will enter this game. First appearance of 2025 for Helferty, coming over from the Washington Spirit, where she has spent 4 seasons. And now here in Houston, ready to get going. Coming off an injury, she made just 2 appearances last year, no appearances in 2023. Not be surprised if this is a point to the spot.
I mean, I don't think we're going to see a more obvious penalty, if I'm being honest.
Tuenjai will take a look at this one. Looked pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I saw it, you could pretty much see. And some of the Houston Dash players were also appealing, which you would do. You're a player, you're going to appeal for it. I feel for Hendrick because I think in this situation here, you're just trying to get your body there. You're trying to throw everything at it, but she turns away from the play. And that's, for me, stonewall penalty all day long.
Houston has not been awarded a penalty this season.
I think that's going to change now.
And all that hard work for Chicago to get back in it, get themselves a few more chances. In a few seconds, it could be 2-0 Houston.
I honestly don't know how many more looks they need to take at this, because I like the fact they take, you know, their time to get the decision right, but it's pretty obvious this is a penalty. Like, I have no idea what the discussion would be in this moment.
Tuenjai in conversation with Laura Rodriguez right now. It's a penalty. A point to the spot. Houston, a chance now from 12 yards out to make this a 2-0 game.
Well done, VAR. Well done, the referee. It took too long for me, but the correct decision was given in the end.
Alyssa Nair has saved 6 penalties in her career in the NWSL. It'll be Yasmin Ryan to step up. Houston has not taken a penalty this season. And what a matchup we have here. Ryan against Nair. Yasmin Ryan, it's saved by Nair! Nair does it again, keeping Chicago in it.
Brilliant save from Alyssa Nair. Excellent save. To be fair to Yasmin Ryan, she catches it quite well. We see her take another look at the penalty. Stonewall all day long for me. Do you know what? It's a fantastic save from Alyssa Nair, because that is a really good penalty from Yasmin Ryan. Looked like it was going right in the bottom corner, had power on it, had pace. And that's a fantastic save from Alyssa Nair.
Corner taken short. Looking in fields, putting this towards goal. Malia Berkeley was on the doorstep.
Berkeley's got that number 10 on the back of her shirt. She's in that number 10 spot. to be fair to her, I think someone could have given her a call to say she could have brought this one down.
As if the legend needed to grow any further for Alyssa Nair. It's another big moment for the Chicago keeper.
Such a great save.
Grosso. Turning this back, Ludmila. Cross blocked. Bigelski. Joseph going for it and out of play. Leanne, you ready for this number? It is 12 minutes of stoppage time added on here in Houston. We've had a number of injury stoppages tonight. Really no surprise.
No, it must be me and you, Josh, because we had that one last night as well. It was like 14 at the end of the first half.
It was.
Yeah, there's been a lot of stoppages. I'm not quite sure if I feel there's been 12 minutes of stoppages. We had the VAR call. There's been a lot of stop-starts. But I think Chicago Stars have kind of started to push in the last, 15 minutes or so.
It's Nadia Gomes coming into this game to replace Sam Staub. Staub on a yellow card. This is no doubt an attack-minded sub, though, from Anders Jakobsen.
Definitely. You can see they're kind of picking up the gas a little bit in the last 10 minutes or so. Ludmila's had a couple of really good looks from the right-hand side, and they will continue to push. This Chicago Stars team are now relentless, and I think Fabrice Gautrard, regardless of the penalty miss, will be quite disappointed that the team haven't kind of controlled the momentum a little bit more, because I think the Houston Dash have definitely, all that matters is winning and getting the 3 points, but I think they've been far superior in this game, but it's still only 1-0.
Moving it out wide, the cross took a deflection, corner kick, and there is still plenty of time in this game for Chicago to find an equalizer. Grosso, in-swinger, floated up, punched away there by Abby Smith. Did what needed to be done, and then it's turned over. Schlegel. And touchdown of play by Bigelski, and Houston will be in no rush to put this back in play.
I know a lot of goalkeeping coaches and a lot of goalkeepers are not a big fan of when goalkeepers punch the ball, but Abby Smith has got that on lock. Like, every time the ball comes in, yeah, you probably want her to be a little bit more commanding and collect the ball, but she's punching it away from danger.
Whistle here. Chicago will get it again. The momentum seemingly going in Chicago's favor. But now they have to go out and find a moment. Anderson floats it up. Yasmin Ryan trying to carry it out for Houston. Ludmila trying to close that space down.
I think if the Houston Dash win this one as well, it could keep another clean sheet. That'll be 2 clean sheets in 3 games, which I think is massive for this team and their confidence. We spoke about Natalie Jacobs pre-game, moving over to the North Carolina Courage, and Lynn came into the last game, then they conceded 2 against Utah Royals, but I think this will work well for their confidence.
It is North Carolina that has taken the lead in Orlando. A big crowd expected there at Inter & Co Stadium tonight. North Carolina's taken the lead. That really shakes things up on the playoff line, as now the playoff line is North Carolina at 28 points. And it brings Orlando right back into that fight to even get in.
Wow, this is crazy. I mean, right now as it stands, we're seeing 7th play 8th in that game, and it's like, imagine if if you said to us beginning of the season the Orlando Pride wouldn't make the playoffs.
Barbara Banda injury has really influenced things, to say the least, but they still had plenty of talent around her last season. It wasn't all Banda.
No. I mean, they started the season without her. I think people have to remember that. And I think when you lose a player like that, it's a massive loss to the team. But yeah, it's kind of crazy, the turnaround.
And even the turnaround just in the season and what Chicago had happened to them against Orlando and then what they were able to do to Orlando just a few weeks ago. That ball hit the corner flag. It stays in play. Chapman just trying to keep it there, battling. Eventually, it's out of play. Turned infield. Yasmin Ryan gets it back out wide. Chapman.
It's so difficult because in moments like this, when there's like 12 minutes added on, players will want to go to the corner flag, but it's like one of those things where it's like game management, because you wouldn't go to the corner flag if you were in the game in the 78th minute, Josh. You wouldn't go to the corner flag, would you, with 12
when
minutes
you put
to
it
go?
like that, yeah.
You wouldn't.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, I feel for the players because it's a long period of time, but it's like you've still got another 7 minutes where you're going to keep that ball in the corner.
It's a lot of work to keep it in the corner for that long.
It is.
I'm going to text you when I see a team take to the corner flag in the 78th minute.
Hey, please do.
I don't think it'll ever happen.
This is really good for the Houston Dash, like good possession, brilliant play from Delaney Sheehan. I think she's been the best player on the pitch tonight. I really do. I think great addition beginning of the season from Gotham FC, but I do think she's finally finding her flow within this Houston Dash team.
Sheehan, who scored the game-winning goal in the reverse fixture back in March in Chicago. That's the lone goal that Sheehan has scored this season. Just past the midway point of the 12 minutes of stoppage time tonight here in Houston. Still a chance for Chicago to make their way back into this game. Houston trying to hold on late. They scored in the first half. So far, that's all they've needed. Here's Messiah Bright. Chance for Houston to really put this away. Sheehan back for Messiah Bright. Saved by Nair. Still available. Yasmin Ryan blocked. It's still not gone. Ryan goes again. Yasmin Ryan blocked.
This is just unbelievable for Melissa Nair. Like, this is such an incredible save. Wow.
Stalwart defending at the back from the Stars, and they still have 5 minutes to try to salvage something tonight. Chicago has scored 6 goals after the 75th minute so far this season. Also conceded the most goals in the final 15 minutes, half of the Stars in the NWSL.
I think that picture there from Jamise Joseph having to go alone just epitomises this performance tonight in the attacking areas.
From Messiah Bright over the top.
Remember, Josh, we've seen a couple of moments where individually the players have just been on their own. Ludmila had the ball on her own. She was trying to run at like 5 players. Jamise Joseph just picked up the ball centrally on the left-hand side and was running at like everybody. It's difficult because they're just playing in isolation. They look a bit disconnected in this matchup tonight.
Cross comes in. Ludmila lets this run all the way through and out of play. Alyssa Nair continuing to keep Chicago alive.
Unbelievable. I mean, Messiah Bright here and Delaney Sheehan, it's a lovely little one-two. But look at this save. What a save that is. Brilliant from Alyssa Nair. Excellent. And to be fair to the Chicago Stars, like, look at them putting themselves on the line. See Malum there, Anderson, everybody defending as a unit. Excellent from Alyssa Nair.
U.S. national team fans saying, sure you want to step away, Alyssa? Jamise Joseph. Joseph trying to go for it herself. Always was going to be a tough effort from that distance. And Houston just 3 minutes away from their first home clean sheet since April 25th against Utah.
It's been a tough night for the Chicago Stars. I think it's just been one of those games where the team look quite tired. They look like they need a little bit of a rest to recover. You know, the humidity and the heat in Houston is also unforgiving, but at the same time, it just looks a little bit disjointed. I mean, this will be their first loss if it continues in that way since the break, Josh. I mean, they haven't lost games.
Chicago still has 2.5 minutes to find something. Houston defending for their lives right now. Biscotra said, we need to have our nose down, we need to get back to being gritty and outdog some teams. That's what they've done so far tonight. They're almost to the finish line. Reach 100 minutes now. Malum floats it up. Ludmila had already crashed towards goal. It was a decent ball played to the back post. And the thumping clearance all the way out to midfield. It's out for a throw-in.
Again, fair play to Chicago Stars. Malum's picking up this ball down the left-hand side. I think she's been decent in this second half. Puts a really good ball in. It looks like Abby Smith gets a little bit of a touch to it as well. Ludmila was creeping there on the back post.
All the way downfield for Nair. Gomsh coming forward. Malum now. Chicago scored late equalizers this year. Here's a shot from distance, taken by Abby Smith.
I think Anders Jakobsen will be happy with how his team have performed in the last 20-25 minutes because they've been more on the front foot. I just think overall they just never really had the momentum in this game. And on the other side, I think Fabrice Cottrell will be happy, but also somewhat disappointed that it hasn't been more goals in this game. But ultimately, all that matters is getting the 3 points.
Chicago looking for one more chance in this game. Can they get Alyssa Nair up the field for her opportunity? Bigelski blocked out of play, trying to go quick, time running thin. There haven't been many stoppages here in stoppage time. And that is full time. Houston holds on, a 1-0 win at home, and back on track are the Dash.
Yeah, good win from the Houston Dash. Chicago Stars suffered their first loss since the break. Anders Jakobsen, I think, will be quite disappointed with how his team approached this game. Fabrice Cottrell will be delighted with how his team, especially losing Jane Campbell in the first 15 minutes. Abby Smith came in and did really well. I feel for Alyssa Nair because I thought she was fantastic in this game. Not only the penalty save, but she was just there for her team. I think Chicago Stars put themselves on the line, defended really well, but arguably I think they looked quite tired in this game. A fair play to Yasmin Ryan. She scored, she missed the penalty, but I think Houston Dash deserved winners of this one.
5 saves tonight for Nair, up to 697 for her career. But it's Houston who comes away with the win. We'll start our post game and wrap things up after this from Houston. Full time tonight from Houston. The Dash beat the Stars 1-0 and continue that push towards the playoff. What a run it has been for the Dash since the restart of the season after the summer break. The highlights from our match tonight, just one goal in this one, but Houston, they have swept the season series against Chicago for just the second time all-time since 2022. This was the lone goal tonight with Yasmin Ryan.
Excellent try from Yasmin Ryan, really poor giveaway from Sam Stott, but she does everything right here. She had opportunity to her left to play Leverty, and Van Zanten, and she goes alone, takes the responsibility. Fantastic strike.
That was the lone goal in the game come the second half. More opportunities, and this would be this first would be a big one from Nair.
Yeah, fantastic strike from Yasmin Ryan. It takes a deflection from Sam Stott, but that is such a fantastic save from Alyssa Nair. And this is the penalty. You know, Helferty came into this game and was active. Hendrick handballs it. Correct decision from the referee. Yasmin Ryan steps up, and that is such a great save from Alyssa Nair. What a save that is.
Nair, another big moment for Chicago. The 90+7. How about one more?
Oh, I love this. This is the best save of the night for me from Alyssa there. It's a lovely little intricate pass from Delaney Sheehan to Messiah Bright. I've been in that situation myself. Your eyes light up. You think it's in the back of the net. Great save.
22 shots tonight for Houston. Just one beats Alyssa Nair. Chicago, they battled back, but just wasn't enough in the end.
Yeah, it wasn't enough in the end, and I think Anders Jakobsen will learn a lot from this game for his team, but I think Houston Dash, Fabrice Gautrat, they always looked in control of the game. Chicago Stars, last 20 minutes looked decent, but I do think Houston Dash are the deserving winners in the end.
So Houston continues that push towards the playoffs, as they are now just a couple of points below the playoff line. Louisville has started their game tonight as well against Utah. They'll have a say in things as well, but North Carolina got a big win tonight. On Saturday, Ion's doubleheader gets started from Kansas City as Temwa Shawinga and the Current host the Seattle Reign, followed by Sam Coffey and the Portland Thorns taking on the San Diego Wave. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Ion. And then to close out the weekend, Bay FC welcomes Rose Lavelle and Gotham FC at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. To watch more games and follow your favorite team, check out the schedule on NWSLsoccer.com. That will do it for our coverage tonight from Houston. For our entire crew, broadcast partner Leanne Sanderson, I'm Josh Eastern saying so long from Houston. The Dash beat the Stars by 1-0. One more game in action tonight is Utah and Louisville. Good night from Houston.